Oh, yeah, friends, what's going on? We're talking about Jack and Lily again today. Welcome, welcome in. What are you saying, Esther? April? Susan? A big shout out to everybody out there already. Uh, Listen, I want you guys to be careful because Daniel is the newest Pokemon. Dude's walking around claiming that he's got drone protection. He can't open up like he wants. I thought that was the funniest message the other day. He doesn't even give a shit. He's just going all Pokemon. What other powers do you have? What other superpowers do you have, Danny boy? I have the power to love. What do you call a lot of hornets? Like, what are a lot of hornets? He's an absolute Pokemon. Wonder how things are going over there. Wonder if there's any new ladies in the in the wings waiting for him. If he's macking any chicks. Well, it's got my mind of late is this. At first I kind of dismissed it, but it's always been around about, this stop by Jordan Getty's during the morning. If you go over and listen to the UK, what is that? Adventures Underwater UK, he's got some compilation videos. One of them with Jordan over on Dolly Vision, where he's, like Daniel, preemptively telling everybody, he calls up and he's all pissed off at Dolly because apparently people are alleging, this is way back in June, that Daniel and Malaya and the kids were there on Thursday. And I don't know if you're like me, I'm just like dismiss this sort of shit because it's just, who knows, right? It seems a little bit different looking back on it now. Maybe there's many good individuals in the background that are checking out the details and talking with the eyewitnesses. We don't know yet. It was so hard. When you get information in the real time, the one thing that's working against him is that Darren Getty's, he can't lie properly. Just because you lie all the time, you're not necessarily good at it. You can't have it always. But no matter what, whoever the individual was that was coming forward certainly seemed to be in the know of a lot more knowledge in this circumstance. And why would you ever need to protect any information when there's two missing children at hand? What we couldn't fathom at the time is adding any more people to what could have possibly went wrong because of just how bad Daniel and Janie and Malaya looked in this situation. But we were open, and as were many of you, to the fact that it might even be a no-brainer. Of course, Durwood has to associate himself with this in the conspiracy to cover it up after the fact if he's part of the problem, the potential problem. Jordan, many people are saying, is a user of substances as well. You can do what you want. But in this circumstance, it has everything to do with Jack and Lily. Why would Jordan want to lie? And why would Jordan need to lie in this circumstance? Why wouldn't Daniel just admit that they stopped by Jordan's house that day? Durwood didn't care until after the children went missing? Well, he was pulled into this. Kent, Janie, Danny boy. Jordan acting so aggressive is because of guilty knowledge. Why he's so defensive, says Amanda Graham. You're on the right track. Absolutely. But I mean, it's sad in ways because it's so damn entertaining watching him melt down and get mad and get himself in even more trouble when he loses his temper in these circumstances, trying to intimidate people for what would otherwise seem as just non-tangible evidence, perhaps. But the problem is when you lie and you omit. And Danny omits a lot in all of this. He goes to great lengths to try to skip over key parts of the timeline. These are those moments you can never get back. Why didn't they all go inside and sit down for a visit, Starcat? What are you saying? That there is, I guess people are suspect that there's substances involved, or either a deal going down there, or a collection of money, or a need to meet up before he goes and does a bigger deal, maybe. Pooling your money all together to get more. Durwood was asked by Patty to get Malaya and the kids out, and he didn't. Out where, Ilya? What do you mean? How do you know that? He was asked by Patty to get Malaya and the kids out. When? Also for debate, Angel Wings. Yes, that is what I am suggesting, Starcar. Why didn't they all go inside and sit down for a visit? That's what you're suggesting, Starcar? Yeah, either or, one of those possibilities. It's a strong possibility. The question is then, is it just to cover up the rug activity, or is there more to it than that? Or do they have even more of an association with the disappearance of Jack and Lily than we'd like to think? It would be hard not to think that the one didn't have to do with the other. It'd be nice to be on the interviewing team with the RCMP. Tammy, good to see you. Didn't Durwood say Patty called him to check on the children before due to suspected abuse? Yeah, well, the problem is that's Durwood saying it. Oh, fuck. You can't. He tried so much to make himself look like he had a reason to be involved because he's some sort of relation to Patty. Who knows if that's true or not, but it's so distant that it's ridiculous. It's stupid to even bring up. When you don't bring up the direct reason that you're a relation to them. It's just this description, this long label. Anyway, it was a quick, shady deal on the porch. It couldn't happen in the house. Jordan's family were home, I'm guessing. So what are you saying, Amanda? That's where Durwood lives, or his mom's lives? And Jordan lives there with his mom's. That's possible. I don't know him that much, or that well yet. Durwood said it on Dolly Vision in the early days. I should almost use parentheses when you say that, Ilya, then. Yeah, you want to make the point, but you can't trust anything Durwood has to say. He's trying to make it look in front of a group of people that he's on the inside. He's friends of everybody. Who fucking knows with that asshole what's true? We know that he's a fucking liar. You hear that, Durwood? Esther says she cannot believe anyone in their right mind can possibly think Daniel and Malaya are not guilty in the disappearance of this. Guilty of what, and where did they go? There's so many other questions that arise and a lot of other charges along with it. A lot of good old-fashioned detective work on the inside. and all kinds of reasons for people out there to take interest and sleuth away themselves. And the funny part about this, for the people who don't otherwise know, is that, you know, when Jordan and Darren give up their sensitivities in a public manner and want to get into a battle, it's just free advertising for everybody else as far as creators go. You two stooges are the subjects. And even though that part of it is a intended distraction away again from Daniel, but we haven't lost sight in that. It's just a reason to talk shit about you two fools. Because you've put yourself in the public light. Even the CBC let the world know just how idiotic Durwood was and is. And even the suspicious and odd behavior that they talked about, it would suggest that you have guilty knowledge in all of this, Durwood. And you are insistent to the cops that they tell you more information for your own good. So it's really giving yourself away. And giving everybody else a reason to talk about you. It's a double-edged sword, though. Starcar, is it buffering for you? Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me know if my audio is okay. There may be a slight chance we have to restart, but I hope not. I'll close out some things. It says it's an excellent connection right now, so hopefully it'll be okay for a bit. Hit that thumbs up if you're sitting in here just listening. Do me a solid. Do me a solid and hit that thumbs up while I'm just sitting here. It says the connection's alright. I don't know what's going on. I had all kinds of stuff open. All kinds of different apps, they call it. I'm still closing things out. Hold on. Yeah, so that's really piqued my interest because I also got to clarify something too. But I won't get too many things going at one time. See, whenever there's bullshit, I want to figure out why, and I don't know all of the details about Thursday morning, but the more and more I hear about this stop at Jordan's, the more I tend to believe it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, there's more than one witness. I'm not privy to the names, nor do I want to know them. Maybe I do, but just not right now, not to put them on blast or anything, but but there's one in particular, and they're in contact in the background and conversing all about it. She seems pretty adamant that she saw Malaya, Daniel, the kids, and two individuals. And if you're over at Mike Damon's, you've seen that drawing, that drawing of the picture, overlay of the picture from Google Earth. Now, it's a person that lives just within a short distance of them. I won't even repeat the words. I live quite close. Not beside, but close enough. And yes, the information was given to RCMP ages ago. Because it's not going the way that Derpwood or Jordan wants it. They've taken to the streets of Facebook to harass different grannies around the city. And those of them who are in contact. And with some pretty nasty, manipulative things. Not that any number of them fell for it. Or got hooked into any sort of emotional blackmail or blackmail situation. But the point is that it illuminates just who is being deceptive in all of this. the sensitivities. And if you go back and listen to anything that Jordan said, that fool, that douchebag, moron, like Daniel, just skips over any context or point to what it is that they're upset about in the first place. They're constantly trying to talk themselves down and calming down and wanting to say, oh, maybe it was just a misunderstanding after the violence or the assault, if you will. That's a form of manipulation. Oh, I believe the witnesses too, Ilya. I do. I do. And I've seen some things in the background. Thanks for letting me in onto that loop. I've already preemptively covered up some names in case I need to show any screenshots, but I'll just talk about them for now. It's not exactly like it's... it will be. Just wait for a little bit more time. Not that it's the information's bad. It's just unnecessary to over-explain something that isn't complete yet. Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. Listening to Danny tell people what they can do, MCM. How people can come to tips for them, and there's these long rants on Facebook about, trying to convince you of some sort of flawed logic as to why it only makes sense as to why they need or anybody needs to come to the main suspect in all of this with any new lead or idea that he can quickly dismiss and shove off to the side. This is a pattern with Daniel. He's acknowledged the fact of what the problem is. He only just doesn't represent, maybe on purpose, the definition of what it is that he's talking about. He's trying to spin these negative things in a positive light directly. By what? Admitting to misunderstanding the definition of it in the first place. That's the pattern. You got to catch them, and that's one of them. This fucking guy. This fucking guy. It should be rather obvious. The fact that he's in front of a CBC camera misrepresenting what would otherwise be common sense and obvious is a demonstration, again, of his avoidance. And him avoiding anything because he avoids each and every question. It's entertaining at very least, watching this SOB trying to get away with this on the CBC. And really being the only person that's playing the part of the innocent person. Like, he's really trying to make it appear as though there's nothing to worry about. Oh, look at this. This must mean that, look at how great, how innocent I am. I can't believe that you're on national television really admitting to being a stupid son of a bitch. It's worth a shot. It's all he's got. Maybe you could, I was looking at a different perspective. I mean, it's out of sheer desperation. He doesn't have any other choice. Think about when the cops came over that day. Think about May 2nd and after they called the RCMP in. He spent the first 2 days as far away as possible, leaving Malaya really to sit around with police. Now, if this was a real... we just seen the kids not even 20 minutes ago, which is what they want people to think. This is what's going to be held against them in court. There's no way if you just saw your child 20 minutes ago that you were off and avoiding the police for the next 48 fucking hours under the guise that you're searching every culvert and all of these random fucking areas with absolutely no direction. That's highly suspect the way that you handled this situation. If this was a real emergency and you needed the RCMP, you called the RCMP. There's obviously a reason why you needed them there. Why aren't you there telling them? You're just running around like a madman thinking that a 4 and a 6-year-old could be anywhere? No, that's the exact opposite thing a person would be thinking in an emergency should you have been trained. Too bad you didn't take all those courses before all of this happened. Mike was showing these courses, these online courses that somebody sold him to get him a certificate in interrogation tactics in that sense. That makes me laugh. Well, what would you possibly be in need of that knowledge in that moment of time for, I wonder? Just another demonstration to any cop looking in that this motherfucker's trying to hide something here. And the cops know all of this, but the problem is, and what makes them worth their, some of them worth their salt, we'll say, is the fact that they've got to retain their composure. See, I'd be too difficult. I'd never get anywhere. I'd be like on the bottom rung of the cop ladder my entire career because I couldn't hold back my emotions. I give myself away all the time, laughing at these poor criminals fucking up. Maybe you'd get old after a while. I don't know. Maybe they'd promote me because I'd rat other people out. Internal office politics. Anyway. I can't believe people still think they wandered off. Nobody's thinking that, Tammy. Nobody's thinking that. However, it's the problem is, Tammy, what the suspects have now positioned themselves over time in trying to champion that the kids aren't and didn't wander away theory, when they were the ones that were pushing essentially a whole different narrative in the beginning, one that they're not going to be able to get away from. That's not saying that it's not possible to that if the individual was truly confused, which they never demonstrate any confusion, they wouldn't otherwise know. But in this circumstance, they're the ones who presented the wandering off theory to begin with. And no matter what, they have to rule that out. That's expensive. How much again, Daniel? You're keeping track. Amanda, Mike Demand showed a video of cadaver dogs searching for Dylan Ehler, and it picked out a spot in the water, and the RCMP didn't even notice. Oh my God. Oh my God. Maybe it's a false positive. I didn't see that. Osprey's a bit confused. Are we speculating that Lily and Jack were dropped off at Jordan's in the morning? No. Well, no, we're not speculating that unless somebody else is. We, meaning you and me, no. Were they not seen on CCTV? Yeah, Osprey. The point is it raises more questions in that sense. But the point is that Daniel and Malaya lied about their whereabouts on Thursday morning. It doesn't necessarily mean something equals anything else. Just that they lied. And why would they lie? And if they lie once, they're probably lying more than once. And then it comes in, if you want to start you start to question what's true from them. Well, you can't. They're unreliable in that sense. But so don't be confused, Osprey. I was confused a little bit as to what it meant to begin with, but it's not really painted out there, so don't feel bad. It destroys the narrative. Again, just another shot. So why is Daniel going to search with PBMH? Well, because it's a vanity tour. It's a vanity search. They want to make it look like all of your donations are actually doing something. Don't let that shit confuse you. Where is he going to search then? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter as long as he's there and as long as you're bringing your camera. He wouldn't miss it for the world. You question everything they say? Absolutely you do, Osprey. I see it. Right, Steph. It paints a picture of even more deception. And deception by two individuals that, that's really questionable. Why and what is it that ties them to this case that makes them so deceptive? We're talking about two missing children here. Joyce, you've got it. You've got it. Question is, why do they feel the need to lie? Because the truth would probably be leading them somehow into, and a lot of people are tying this with their rug life in that sense. That could be. They're acting like a bunch of tweakers. Everybody's saying that they're tweakers. I mean, the writing's on the wall. They even admit to it. But Jordan and Darren, Jordan, or I don't know about Jordan's drug habits, but I would expect if he's hanging out with Daniel that he couldn't be all that sober. And I've listened to the guy on Dolly's. The guy's fucked up. He doesn't give a shit. They found 100 kids in Tennessee the other day. Is that right, Silver? Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be finding Jack and Lily with them. So what could they possibly be lying about? Why would they not want to be included in all of that, I wonder? Why did Daniel and Malaya not want to bring their stop at Jordan Getty's house up? What do you think? Probably every reason. Then they'd have to get in and talk about their rug use. Oh, he was here because he owed me some money. Well, what was that money for? Then they probably didn't want to have to give the police a reason to hone in and ask them any questions that force them into giving each other away, to giving themselves up, because there is an association, a link there that they know. We're trying to figure out yet. You guys are thinking it's all rugs? Well, it would have to be, and it would make sense. And if, just say, I don't know about that. Yeah, well, I don't know. They'd rather not go to prison, Pink Roses? Yeah, you can see that, Jody Lynn. Maybe Daniel will find the kids and he can be the superhero. Maybe. Well, you can see, you're talking about the extended clip from Malaya. You think that was grief? I guess you could interpret it as grieving. It looked like the face of somebody that was just traumatized. She's been traumatized somehow, whether it was with the backside of a hand or the fact that she's up not getting any sleep and arguing with the old man. I want to know what this ongoing argument was between Daniel and Malaya. Hello, Tina. Hello, Brian. Good to see you. Dixon Uranus. Oh my God, don't even. That's funny. Wade's daughter said, Simple Minds. Wayne's daughter said you can tell Malaya had been on hardcore rugs because of how she talks and acts now, like a different person. What's the difference that she noticed? I have some of her messages here somewhere. There's Kiki. There's Kiki. But there's some other Kiki ones. I gotta find them. What the hell's going on? There it is. One moment, please. I'm going the wrong way. Yeah, Kiki certainly had a lot to say. Let me see here. Now, what does that have to do with? What does that have to do with it? Staying outside for blood work. What does one thing have to do with the other? I think Malaya knows what happened but doesn't know where they are. And I think that is the hold Daniel has. You say anything, you never know. I think she knows, and she can guide us in the right direction because she was around that night not sleeping. If they were both users in that sense. I don't believe that there's a whole lot of sleep going on around there. But the more that we get to know about what was going on in the house in regards to these substances, the more that we're... it's very likely that Malaya was using. Her behavior would say that, unless she was being severely abused. I mean, I'm open to either, but it suggests that she's using. Or she was. Now, I wonder how much of it was by choice. Maybe Daniel was slowly poisoning everybody. Who knows? Probably not. It's probably by choice. It's been by choice for a while. Maybe it wasn't so bad, but what was her problem at Patty's? Kiki says that Malaya didn't want to better herself. She didn't want to get an education or get a job. And Daniel, it gave Daniel the opportunity to play hero, didn't it? That's what it seems like. And Daniel's way of playing hero was telling her that she didn't have to, she could do what she wanted as long as she stuck by him, of course. In their new love nest out at Janie's trailer. Uh-oh, hold on. You might be experiencing some buffering. Just one moment. So that sounds about right. That's how they got into this mess to begin with. They had to move back in with Janie. And Janie... so Daniel starts having to appease his mother in that sense. Now she can't live around the kids for whatever reason. Well, the fact that she's an old ogre, she hates kids. She doesn't want to be around children whatsoever, so she goes and isolates herself in the back corner of the lot at the end of the driveway in this old RV whose roof obviously leaks. Let me know if you can still hear me. Hold on. If I have to restart it, I will. So, I mean, if this goes down, I'll be back on.